Hello, hello, everybody. Been really excited for this one for the past couple months, so let's jump in now. We're gonna break down The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Yeah. So, The Binding of Isaac is long considered one of the games that really made the Rogue-lite genre take off. It didn't necessarily create everything used in it, but it popularized a lot of the mechanics, and it was one of the first ones that was, that went big, and it was definitely probably the most successful and well-known one. And they, mostly being Edmund McMillen, the creator, decided to, work with the company and make a new game. And, a remake, essentially. It's not a sequel, per se, it's a remake of The Binding of Isaac, plus the DLC content, The Wrath of the Lamb, with a bunch of extra stuff. It's basically Isaac 2.0, 2.8, 2.587. And what they decided to do was kind of take a bit and polish a whole bunch of stuff up and redo the artwork. The artwork, the music, and everything is all redone, as you'll see. So let's go. Let's make a new run. So from the beginning, you'll notice there are a lot more characters to unlock. There are, your basic ones, Sir Isaac, and ignore my awful win streak, and some new ones like Samson, Azazel, Eden. Is Lazarus new? I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, a bunch of characters, and also there's a hard mode, and it's kind of hard, by the way. I think there's actually a harder as well. There's a harder difficulty than that. You can also input a seed, wow. Freudian slip. You can input a seed by pressing tab, and that way you can control the way that the game generates its levels randomly a little bit. If someone gives you a seed, and you use the seed they gave you, or you just use the same seed multiple times, because even going into a random one, you can pause and see the seed for that particular run, it will generally give you the same items in the item rooms and the same bosses and things like that, although the layouts and random drops and stuff can be different. So yeah, content, tons of it. So let's jump in with, I like Lazarus. Lazarus is fun. He is a lot like Isaac, except for he doesn't start with a bomb like Isaac does, and instead can revive once after he's killed, because, this game is full of biblical references, so here we go! Boop! If you've never played Binding of Isaac before, it is a rogue-lite, meaning it has roguelike elements. It was one of the first. That has become a genre very popular right now, but it was one of the first that really did it. You have a basic attack, four-way movement, very Zelda-esque, randomly generated levels with a ton of random items. In this case, I just got Technology 2, which is holy crap. I might have to write this seed down. I can just look at it in the video. So there's a seed for you, anyone who wants to use Technology 2, because it's awesome. Yeah. Anyway, also I start with a pill. And The Binding of Isaac is a very dark, if somewhat funny sometimes, kind of game in theme. And what you're noticing right now, more than likely, if you've played it before especially, is that the art style is different. It is pixel art now. The original Isaac was done in Flash, and it was kind of a rush job, almost, you could say. They didn't necessarily choose Flash. Flash kind of chose Edmund, because it was a quick job, it was hurried a little bit, you could say. And he wanted to redo it all in a different engine that is not Flash, and actually animate it himself in a different way. And he has done so. The good thing about that is, since it doesn't run in Flash anymore, it runs better. You don't get frame drops when there are tons of enemies on the screen and stuff anymore, and there are a lot of enemies on screen, especially so in this version, which we'll talk about later. But it makes the game just feel a lot smoother and run much better. Now, whether or not you actually like the look of the game is going to be fairly take it or leave it, I think, because some people don't like pixel art, and there is an option to use a filter that kind of smooths the look like this. Makes it a little closer to the original, but personally, I've never enjoyed those smoothing filters that are used on pixel art games. Reminds me of they use it in Guardian Heroes, for instance, the Guardian Heroes port to the 360. I don't like them. I prefer the pixel art graphics much more, but again, it's personal preference, and the option is there for you, so. Ow! Stupid spikes. Let's fight the boss of the first level. So, generally speaking, in Isaac, aren't they adorable, you are going around trying to collect as many items as possible and get more powerful. You start out quite weak and very basic, very simple attack, and you get items to increase your power and survivability. And you have various stats in which to do so, things like attack range, attack speed, movement speed, damage, fire rate, etc., etc. Ow. And of course, the number of heart containers you have. And the game goes through entirely with this fairly twisted aesthetic. It's a strange game with very strange lore and a very weird story, and it is not for everyone, and I understand that, but I personally quite love its twisted nature. It is very, very twisted, and not everyone is a fan of that. I personally like it. I think it's hilarious, but, you know, a magic scab! Yeah, indeed. So moving on to the next floor. So, generally speaking, what you're going to be doing is fighting through these randomly generated levels and attempting to beat as many bosses as you can and get to the end. Now, the levels, you don't actually start with all of them available. There are various secret levels and various different levels that will be unlocked in different ways. Like the womb level, yes, there is a womb level, there are two, as you can tell, that is only unlocked once you actually beat the game for the first time, because that really isn't the end of the game, per se. There's a lot more to it than when you beat it the first time, and as you keep doing more objectives and beating more bosses and things, yes, gross indeed, very useful though, you unlock more floors and more secrets and things like that, and of course more items to find. Although the items are randomly generated, you can unlock the sort of ability to find more than you'll start with. Full health! I wasted that. Whoops. The Lovers. Oh, actually, that's fine, because the Lovers tarot card gives you hearts. Do I have enough? Yeah, I have enough. So, every 2 levels, the tile set changes. So, the basement is the first 2 floors, generally. And then the next 2 are a cave, and then comes the depths, and then comes the womb, but there are more than that. There are the catacombs, there's the sort of alternate versions of levels, like Utero, there's the chest, there's Sheol, which is of course like the Jewish hell, essentially. All kinds of things like that, and actually, one of the things I love most about this game, and I mean this game in particular, Rebirth, is the amount of content that's in it. The Binding of Isaac had a lot of content, it had a ton of stuff, but this one has so much, it's actually kind of ridiculous. Gross. It has, like, an absurd amount of stuff available to you. Ow. So many items, so many characters, so many bosses, so many levels. It is, basically, in my opinion, it's actually objectively better than the original Isaac plus DLC in every way. Because it actually has everything that those games had, but more. There are a lot more items in this one, there are hundreds of them, as well as way more enemy types, so you're going to see a lot more enemy variety, even in the levels you've seen, you know, millions of times, perhaps. There's a lot more there to experience now, and a lot of the new boss designs are awesome, by the way, and they make for some really fun fights, and previous fights have been redesigned as well. I'm going to go back and get that card. So, some previous fights, previous bosses that may have been a little easier than they should have been, or just weren't as enjoyable as they could be, have been redesigned now, and are much, much harder. The boss of the womb, for instance, is way harder than it used to be. There's like some bullet hell stuff going on with all the craziness that happens. And it's actually kind of incredible how much content they packed into this game for only $15, by the way. $15. And I know the art style isn't something that everyone's going to enjoy, but I personally like it. Again, it does have the smoothing filter option if you want it. Ooh, Catacombs time. And it's also got new music that a lot of people are kind of torn on. Some people really like the new music, some people really like the old music more. I like a lot of the new music, I do. There's some of the old music that I like better for certain zones, but in general, I really do enjoy the new soundtrack a lot. And I guess if it bothers you that much, you can mute the music in the game and just get the old soundtrack running in the background if you want. But yeah, so again, it's a bit take it or leave it when it comes to the new design. So, you know, visual and sound. Also, all the sound effects have been redone, and I really like it. Every sound effect. The hurt effects, the attack effects, the new blood laser sound effect, which I hope you'll hear at some point if I maybe fight an enemy with one. Sounds awesome. And even all the new enemy cries and stuff have been like bit crushed and they sound new. It's kind of great. Ooh, little brimstone. Here's the laser sound. And it sounds a bit different depending on who you're using, but yeah, the game has actually a lot going for it now. It had a lot before, honestly, but there's just so much. It's really, you can't overstate the content. As you're seeing here, this room is actually different. It's a double-length room. There are double-sized rooms now that have all sorts of different layouts that are, you know, either longer or taller. They generally have a lot of extra stuff going on. And there are also quadruple rooms, which you can also see over there, a couple rooms to my right. They're much bigger and have a lot of stuff going on. There are even boss rooms that are like this, that are double the size, and you actually have to fight double the bosses in those rooms. It's actually kind of incredible. The interesting bits of finding the secret levels and all the stuff that you have to, you know, kind of figure out on your own, it's all still in there, and there's even more of it. Also, item synergies have been hugely improved, by which I mean the way that items work together once you... That's really the point of games like this. Isaac really popularized that as like one of the main points, is you're trying to get as many items as possible that work together in a really interesting way. And this actually improves that. Even the original items from, you know, the original Isaac can work together in new ways in this one. And with all of the new items that have been added, you're going to find even more of those synergies. And it's actually kind of incredible the amount that they've figured out. Nice! There's a lot of them. Right now, if... I've had a poison blood laser at one point. A poison blood laser. Like, seriously. It was awesome. And I've seen 8-way lasers and all kinds of nonsense. You can get some really crazy synergies, and it doesn't feel like it's afraid of making you overpowered if you get the right synergies, which I like that. That's the goal of Isaac for anyone that's really enjoyed it, is to feel OP. You want to get that awesome combination of items that lets you feel overpowered. And although you're not going to get it every time, when you do, there's nothing better. Magic mushroom, all stats up. Woo, woo, woo. Look at them stats, girl. All right, and yeah. Moving on to the Catacombs 2. But I gotta say, the amount of stuff, oh, it's Caves 2 now, is incredible to me. I can't quite stop playing it. I might have a problem. The original was really addicting to me in the first place, and this one it's more besides, really. And all of the old craziness is still in there with, like, unlocking the horseman bosses, which is, of course, from Wrath of the Lamb, unlocking the special items from defeating all the sins and defeating all the horsemen. That's all in there still, and there's also more of that now. So, like, for instance, I've fought Super Greed and Super Lust before, and that's a double-sized boss room, which we're going to have to show you before this video ends, by the way. And there are also entirely new cycles of items. So, for instance, there's a Zodiac cycle, by which I mean cycles of items as in like groups that share a theme. There are items that are all the Zodiac. I don't know what the world does. Oh, it maps everything out. Nice. But, so I found, for instance, Pisces, it makes your tiers stronger and gives them knockback. Aries, I don't know what Aries does yet. I have not quite figured that out. Let's see. I found Aquarius, which lets you leave a trail of tears. I think Virgo gives you like a one-hit shield. And there are various things like that that kind of, you know, and they synergize quite well with all sorts of things and each other. And that's what I mean, they're entirely new cycles of items available. I've also found a couple of like metal ingots. One of them gives me the Midas touch, so when enemies hit me, they freeze for a second. Nice. Awesome. I'm a vampire now. Yes. They freeze for a second, and if you kill them while they're sort of turned to gold, they drop a whole bunch of coins. I've also found an iron one that gives your tiers a concussive effect that knocks enemies back a little bit and stuns them for a second. And again, these all synergize in different ways with the various other items you can find. And really, what you'll kind of see generally is that there's so many. And, a box. Whoa! Nice. The left hand. Oh god. No, no. Oh, hi there. Sure. Dark Bum! Enjoy that, I guess. Wait, what's this? Boop. Bombs are oh god. Anyway. So, yeah. The crazy amount of synergies that you'll be experiencing. There you go, you can have that. Thank you. The crazy amount of synergies you'll be experiencing are one of the main draws of the game. For a lot of people that have never played it before, you gotta realize that that's kind of what it's about, almost. Oh god! It's about trying to feel powerful. And I've got to say that Isaac has pulled that off better than many of its, new roguelite style games that have tried to, follow the success. And although there are lots of very good ones, there are lots of these roguelites that have really given me a lot of pleasure to play, Ziggurat being one of them. But going back to Isaac and just seeing the experience smoothed out, improved in just about every way, and just polished up to like a mirror shine, it brings me tears of blood, tears of bloody joy, and it's great. I definitely can't recommend it enough. It's essentially, oh jeez, it's essentially a very large remake that contains more of everything, if that makes any sense. I can't quite get enough. So we're gonna keep going here and try and get to that double boss room and hopefully not die too badly. The game gets very hard, by the way. Some people are finding the game a little bit easier than previously, and that's because of how smooth it is at like a very solid 60 FPS that doesn't constantly drop all the time when there are like more than 3 enemies on the screen. Performance is of course just fine. It runs very, very well. I use a controller for it because I just like the way it feels, but the keyboard controls are just fine. However, some people are upset they took away mouse support. You cannot click to shoot anymore. I don't know if that's going to be added back in with a patch or what, but just beware if that's something that you used a lot. You can't use the mouse to shoot anymore. Also, some people are talking about sometimes their keyboard will stop working while they're playing the game. Oftentimes, you simply need to unplug a controller or deactivate like a controller from your HID interface, and that usually does it, but not always. So like that's a little something to beware, but it's not like patches are alien to Macmillan and Co. They've patched their games all the time, so hopefully that problem is solved for people that are having it. Nice. All right. Here we go. Double Monstro. Yeah. Oh god. And yeah, the game has a lot more challenge in it now. It's just as fun as you remember, I think, for a lot of people, and it's equally twisted. It's actually even more strange and disturbing in my opinion because they've added a lot more stuff. Some of the redone art looks fantastic. Like the Four Horsemen, for instance, look even creepier than they used to. And as well as the fact that some of the new sound effects are genuinely disturbing, and a lot of people, they want that. So, you got it. I'm enjoying it a lot. Possibly way too freaking much. Oh god. And I cannot say that I regret my purchase. I definitely don't. It is more Isaac than I could have dreamed of. And I'll show you as soon as I jump out of this run in a second exactly how many items are on the item screen, because you saw the characters, you've seen some of the levels. I'm going to show you the item screen just because of how ridiculous it is. Ow. LOL. And yeah, it is still a wiki game. I've got to say that. There are a lot of things that are not very clear about Isaac, like how to unlock certain secrets, what certain items do, and that has not been fixed. But I don't know if fix is the term, because that's by design. Some people don't like that, I understand that. It is frustrating sometimes to get a bunch of items and they don't exactly say what they do. I would like to see maybe a concession on that, if you go to the item screen and look at what you have. I love how I'm in a box, by the way. I am basically Solid Snake. Solid Isaac. Lazarus. And if you go to the item screen and look, you can select the items, but that doesn't do anything. There's no reason to do it. It's just a collection screen to see, you know, all the stuff you've gotten so far. In my opinion, it would be a nice concession for them to make it to where if you selected an item on the screen, it told you what it did. Those skeleton guys are dicks, by the way. But yeah, obviously it's by design that there's a lot of obscure secrets and a lot of stuff you might not figure out very well on your own. And if you do figure it out on your own, it's not because you were planning to, it's because it just kind of happened, and then, like, that's what you get. And, you know, I like that. Some people don't like that, which is totally understandable, because I do experience a lot of frustration sometimes in getting new items and not understanding what they do. And sometimes trial and error doesn't quite figure it out for you. But, I've got to say that I would kind of like that concession. But again, with even more items, it's clear, you know, that it's going to be a problem for people that it was a problem with before. That hasn't changed. So I just want to make people aware of that, because I know that's a problem for some people and it has not changed. But yeah, so that's Isaac. That is the Binding of Isaac Rebirth. It is better than ever, in my opinion, and if you even liked a little bit the original / DLC, then this is most definitely for you. Also, there are poop monsters. There's even a poop boss called Dingle. He's overpowered. Nerf Dingle, please. And, yeah. So, that's Isaac. I guess I've got nothing else really to say besides the fact that I love the new enemies and how many of them there are. It's kind of absurd just how many new enemies there are. There are new enemies of almost every type. Even, like, flies. There are so many new flies, some that like fly in a weird, oh god, amnesia. I will just beat that level then. Ooh. Some that fly in a weird pattern around each other, some that there are like triple fly. There are all kinds of weird enemies now. I like it a lot. Ow! And I cannot say, honestly, that I didn't expect it to be great, because I love me some Isaac. But I guess it's just a surprise how much there is. Like, how much have you crammed into the small file size of this game? And the answer is a whole hell of a lot. So yeah, $15 on Steam, folks. I will link you, of course, in the description so you can buy it about 10 times. Remember that you don't have to own the original and stuff like that. It's not an expansion, it is a new remake. It even has the expansion content from the original, etc., etc. So if you think it's for you, give it a go. I'd recommend giving it a shot because, well, because pills, obviously. Yeah. Alright. I'm going to continue this run off screen, but because I can show you, also there are challenges. There are lots of challenges, yes. And stats. So this is Mom kills at 0, really. I guess it's because I haven't beat the heart yet. Dang it. I almost got it once. Freaking. Anyway, items. Look at this. Look how many pages of items there are. Look at it. Oh my god. Yeah, there's so many items. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that real quick. So there you go, folks. Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Available now on Steam. $15. Buy it. Buy it? Yes, buy it. And thanks for watching.